Hello everyone and Happy New Year. 2024 was a good year for video games. I want to show you all games I've played this year and we'll pick the game of the year at the end. I haven't played all big releases this year, of course, and sometimes I had to choose between two games I wanted to play because of time constraints, of course. So without further ado, let's get going because there's a lot to cover. Here's a list of games mentioned in this video one way or another. I haven't played all of them, by the way. The first new game I've played in 2024 is Enshrouded. This game was released in January and it was my first tough choice. I had to choose between Palworld or this game. I decided to go with this, but I've played some Palworld later into the year when there was a dry period. And my god, this game has one of the best base building system I ever saw. The voxel based engine is perfect for this because you can make a hole in the ground and build downwards. You know, it's great. Honestly guys, this game had almost everything I wanted from base building in a video game. We'll talk later about the game that has an inferior base building system and in any way possible. Discovering the world for the first time in this game feels great. The game surprises you a lot, especially during early game. Also, quick tip, this is one of the games I feel works best if played with friends, with no guides. I got no friends, so I played it solo, but I hear people are having a blast doing co-op. And I also hear devs released some pretty consistent updates over the year, so yeah, I fully recommend it. Play Enshrouded when you have time. Helldivers 2 is my next game, and I love it. So I've played Enshrouded until February, when a game I didn't expect took me by surprise, or should I say took me by storm. And I've played it like a maniac for almost an entire month. It had a stormy launch, I will not go into, with all sorts of issues. The game somehow managed to keep me hooked for long sessions while I was grinding the battle pass to unlock weapons and armor and acquire some premium currency that's obtainable in game, by the way. I hope they didn't change it, because yeah, I didn't play it since February. It's one of the games I don't have many issues with its battle pass because it's obtainable with one in-game currency you can find while playing the game scattered around the map, you know. And get this, the battle pass doesn't expire. Yeah, you can finish it at any point, so yeah, I dig that. I hope Arrowhead Studio delivers more cool stuff with little to no dramas. I love everything about this game, from the funny Starship Troopers like goofy presentation to the freaking awesome gameplay and stratagems, friendly fire, explosions, and overall feeling and atmosphere that you are when you are in a mission, you know. And the third person camera is great. In February 16th I started playing the first quadruple A title, Skull and Bones. I'm kidding, bro, fuck that. I played the Helldivers the entire month. The next game on the list must be Last Epoch, which was released on February 21st, I believe. I was still playing Helldivers 2, but I got the Last Epoch review ready before launch because I played it a lot in early access and I knew what's up. I love this game, good no bullshit ARPG from an indie studio, great in-game systems, classes, and most importantly, crafting. I strongly believe this game has the best crafting system to date. Period. I wish Path of Exile and Diablo devs learn from this one because that's good. Where it falls flat on its face is the endgame. No idea what improved since release though, so the endgame might be good now. I have no idea. Anyway, a very good ARPG, hope it gets better and better so we have multiple options. Dragon's Dogma 2. Yeah, this released in 21st February. I didn't play the first installment of the game, so I was really hyped about this, but after only 8 hours of playing, I released my review. And to do that, the game must annoy me greatly, because I always release reviews after 100%. But the game's autosave feature, how should I put this, saved over my save. Yeah, I fully described what happened in the review. Anyway, I didn't want to restart my playthrough because Capcom gave me only one save slot, so the game looks cool and seems fun, but day one DLCs and other issues I had killed it for me completely. I might have a serious go at some point in 2025 if we have a bad month or something, but watch my review if you want to know more. Then I played Manor Lords. This game is a big W. Manor Lords is a strategy and city building game developed by Slavic Magic, offering players a highly detailed and historically inspired medieval experience. The game combines elements of city management, economic development and large-scale tactical battles, emphasizing realism and player freedom. Players begin as a minor lord managing a small plot of land, striving to expand their territory, build a thriving settlement and maintain their domain against external threats. Success requires a balance of strategic planning, resource allocation and tactical combat prowess. Manor Lords has garnered significant attention for its blend of city building and strategy gameplay, coupled with its dedication to historical accuracy and freedom in player choices. It appeals to fans of games like Banished, Anno and of course the Total War series. I didn't have time to make a review for this game sadly, but I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10. It's a great game, just buy it. Buy it and play it, you can't go wrong with it. If you enjoy those types of games, of course. The next game on my list is Grey Zone Warfare. Now, Grey Zone Warfare is an open world extraction shooter developed by Madfinger Games, released in early access in April. The game is set in a vast, realistic environment reminiscent of the Vietnam War era, and players undertake missions as part of a private military company or PMC. The core gameplay loop involves deploying into hostile territories, completing tasks, engaging both AI and human adversaries, scavenging for valuable gear, and extracting safely, of course. A significant feature is the game's emphasis of realism with a detailed damage system that simulates the actual effects of wounds, requiring precise shooting and tactical planning. I enjoyed the PvE experience and highly detailed world. While I hate waiting 10 minutes for a helicopter, I'm sure I'll revisit the title at some point because Madfinger Games has big plans with the game in 2025 and beyond. Homeworld 3 released past as I didn't have time to play it, and I'm glad I didn't because I hear it was pretty bad. Now, Formula 1 2024 released in May, like clockwork, because how on earth can a year can pass without EA vomiting another Formula 1 game, right? Sadly, I got nothing notable to say about this as I didn't have time to 100% it for a review, so I passed it. The game looks okay, I could set up my Moza R9 and pedals just fine, but yeah, perhaps in 2025 I make a proper review of the game as I'm enjoying all sim games. Cars, planes, trains, whatever you throw at me. Now, the next one is the First Descendant. This is a free-to-play third-person looter shooter developed by Nexon Games, released in July. Upon release, the First Descendant received mixed reviews. Despite this, the game achieved significant popularity, attracting over 10 million players within 2 weeks of launch and surpassing 200,000 concurrent players on Steam. I enjoyed it for what it is, because I had no expectations really. The highlights of the game for me are the cool boss fights and the great grapple hook mechanic. I wish Throne and Liberty had that one. Sadly, those cool boss encounters are too few and far between, and most of the time you're doing boring quests with an annoying story and a free-to-play model that makes you turn into a professional farmer if you want to advance your descendants.
Are you ready to be shot?
But this bunny skin, man, it's still selling herself, you know. Once Human, this is the next one. Two games actually released roughly at the same time. This is again a free-to-play post-apocalyptic third-person open-world multiplayer survival game developed and published by Steri Studio, a subsidiary of NetEase. This was released in July for Windows and for PC. The game immerses players in a world devastated by an event known as the Starfall, where an alien substance called Stardust has mutated most living beings into hostile entities known as deviations. This not only sounds good, it really is good, you know. Steri Studio nailed the atmosphere and they handcrafted a beautiful, seamless open world filled with stuff for you to explore. And I'm serious, the world is very immersive and pretty cool. The game has seasons, some might like this, some might dislike this, but I don't care as long as I have fun. They can reset my progress, whatever. It's the journey, not the destination, you know. So despite this game having seasons and I only played the first one, I'll return in 2025 for another season for sure, because I hear they unlock the entire world. Yeah, the game has time-gated content and it's annoying, leaving you with 1 or 2 entire weeks with no new areas to explore, but I hope this changed when the entire map opened, you know. In September 2024, the expansion The Way of Winter was introduced, adding a new playable scenario set in the icy northern regions. This expansion features new storyline, expanded map, additional content, missions, enemies and gameplay mechanics involving weather and battles against powerful entities known as Chaos Weavers and so on. Once Human is one of the highlights of the year for me for sure. I enjoyed the open world very much. I just hope devs improve on the horrendous base building because it sucks. So yeah, this was the game I wanted to compare with Enshrouded. The base building is horrendous. By the way, I talk more in depth about this in my review. If you want to know more, watch the review and yeah, you'll find out why I think what I think. And what's next? Well, I was furiously playing Once Human, a bunch of games released, but I didn't have a chance to try any of them. Those games, sadly, are all released in August, by the way. Black Myth Wukong, Concord, and Star Wars Outlaws. From what I hear, only Black Myth Wukong is good. The rest are just over-budgeted games with no soul, really. And this is to say it nicely, in the nicest way possible. You know. One is already dead, and one is made by Ubisoft, because why work on new Division 2 expansion, or hell, even the Division 3, am I right? So, yeah. Space Marine 2 is next. In this game, players embody Lieutenant Titus, bleeding the Ultramarines against the Tyranids, a relentless alien swarm. The game combines visceral melee combat with dynamic shooting mechanics, offering a diverse arsenal including chainswords, bolters and plasma weapons. The campaign spans approximately 12 hours and supports cooperative play for up to 3 players. Additionally, a competitive multiplayer mode is available, featuring extensive character customization across various Space Marines chapters and soldier classes, including Chaos Renegades. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 has been praised for its intense combat, stunning graphics, and faithful representation of the Warhammer 40k universe. Overall, the game offers a brutal and engaging experience for fans of the franchise and newcomers alike, standing out as a notable entry in the action shooter genre. So, if you're a fan of Warhammer 40k universe, I don't know what you are still doing here, or if you just love a good action game, this is a must play. If you need further convincing, there's my review. Frostpunk 2 is the next one, and yeah, this got mixed reception. Anyway, let's go over the game first. Frostpunk 2 is a city building survival game developed by 11-bit Studios, released in September. Set 30 years after the original, players lead New London through a catastrophic volcanic winter, managing resources, political factions and moral dilemmas to ensure the city's survival. The sequel introduces a council system reflecting the complex political landscape of a larger faction-divided city. Frostpunk 2, like its predecessor, is a honest game that doesn't sell you skins and battle passes. It's a great experience if you're into these types of games, and it's very immersive. I get why some fans would feel disappointed by this game, but I'm not. For me, the fact that this one is different from the original just adds to the value. If done well, I'd rather see devs take what was good in original and just expand upon it, you know. This zoomed out approach makes you feel like a psycho at times, because people are just numbers and the end justifies the means and so on. Now, the next one on the list is a freaking gem of a game, and I highly recommend it. This game is called Witchfire. It's a first-person dark fantasy RPG shooter in which you play as a wicked sinner turned witch hunter on its final mission to reach salvation. Listen guys, I can't recommend this game enough. It's in early access with a lot of more content to come, of course, but what's in the game right now puts to shame even big AAA studios. I mean that. I love the visuals, from the cool gothic style to the photogrammetry scanned assets, enemy models, guns, animations, everything. I just love it. I'm an environmental artist myself and I do this job full-time for 20 plus years now. I can find little flaws with the visuals in this game. The gameplay loop is simple yet rewarding, like a Destiny without all the bullshit. Play it now or keep an eye out for the full release or next big update or even a sale, but wishlist it if you fancy this type of gameplay because it's that good. The next game is from a small studio. Again, it's early access. It's called The Forever Winter. This game is a PvE horror extraction shooter released by Fandog Studios in early access in September. I got 1 or 2 videos about it on this channel if you are curious about it, but long story short, the game is cool, but it's in an unfinished state. If you buy this, you need to accept it as this is a truly early access release, meaning it's still fully into development and a ton of features are not ready or are partially implemented. Collision issues, enemies spawning on top of you, and questionable player-based systems taken from Escape from Tarkov. Besides that, the game is very atmospheric and immersive. I love it and I can't wait to see what Fandog Studios have in store for us in 2025 when the game is set to release. The next game is Throne and Liberty. I'm an old fart by this point, if you can't tell. I've been around for most MMO releases and I've played a bunch of them. A lot. From EVE Online and World of Warcraft, which I no-lifed for years, to this one, Throne and Liberty. But after you get a family of your own, MMOs become less compatible with your life. But I still play all of them, at least on a superficial level, to scratch that itch. Yeah, I just play them as single player games with occasional co-op activity in between. Meaning I do dungeons, PvP and whatever with other people. Throne and Liberty is a pretty cool game. It's very well optimized and its open world has great events happening all over the place. The release of the game was a pretty chaotic and fun experience, not gonna lie. But that's where the good ends for me. I don't want to be drip-fed content. If I have 3 days I can dedicate to a game, I want to know life. This game sadly has all sorts of stupid limits that are in place so you accomplish certain things in the amount of time developers want you to accomplish, not faster. So yeah, among other things, the action combat is a bit weird and there's a lot of PvP content if you fancy some of that. If you join a like-minded guild, you'll have some fun, be it PvP or PvE. Another thing that killed it for me was the fact that without a guild you are nothing. Even in PvE. A lot of people play MMOs alone, you know. Having this social feature forced to this extent is weird to me. But yeah, not for Korean MMOs, but seemingly. The next one is Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. This is the first major expansion of Blizzard's Entertainment's action role-playing game Diablo 4. Released in October, it introduces a wealth of new content and features to the base game. These key features are a new region, of course, Nahantu, with a new class, Spiritborn, and an expanded storyline and gameplay mechanics. Almost everything but the story is good. And weirdly enough, I had unexpected bugs while playing. Blizzard is not what it used to be. Anyway, I recommend you try out Path of Exile 2 or Last Epoch until Blizzard truly starts to unleash their unused potential and not hold back when releasing shit. Every time they release something lately, I feel I get 10% of what they're capable of. So yeah, I expect them to deliver upon those 800% value, you know, not 10%. The next one on the list must be DayZ Frostline. This again is a paid expansion for the survival game DayZ, released in October. These kinds of games are a new thing for me. I greatly enjoyed the game. I discovered these kinds of games while playing Scum last year, and I greatly enjoyed this type of gameplay loop. Anyway, the key features of the Frostline expansion are a new terrain, Shakal, explore the 83 square kilometers icy archipelago, inspired by Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, featuring diverse environments such as thick forests, frozen lakes, and a central volcano. Harsh winter survival, experience intensified survival mechanics with sub-zero temperatures requiring players to manage body heat, seek warm clothing, and utilize fires to combat the cold. This feature, I know it's hated by a lot of DayZ veterans, but I found it so cool. I loved it. New wildfire and resources, encounter new animals like reindeer and fish species, providing additional hunting and fishing opportunities. Be cautious of new threats, including the risk of heavy metal poisoning from consuming contaminated snow. Pretty cool map, but sadly it's built on the old DayZ backbone. As a new player, I expect more quality of life features in 2024. What I mean by this is I expect to be able to open cabinets for loot, not find everything on the ground and whatever. A menu for crafting like in Scum for example, etc. The map is great though. I had a lot of fun playing it with a friend who's a very good DayZ player, taught me the ropes and all the quirks of the game. I recommend this. You can even play it as a single player if you want, but PvP is really fun. Again, watch my DayZ first impressions videos on this channel. Next game. This is a co-op ARPG where you directly shape and customize the endless adventures you go on with friends because Wayfinders are stronger together. The game is a lot better than it was a year or so ago when it first released. Watch my review if you want to know more, but yeah, the game feels good, plays good and looks good. Just needs a few more features in my opinion to be truly awesome experience. So I recommend this at least when there's a sale. The next one. This is big. Dragon Age: The Veilguard is the fourth installment in BioWare's acclaimed action role-playing series, released in November. Hot take here, but I enjoyed the game. It's not perfect, of course. Half of the online criticism is valid in my opinion, but the other half is not. I had issues with the story, like some of the people, with some characters, some level design, some design choices and so on, but the overall experience was a pretty damn good one. The game grew on me the longer I played it. I could easily ignore Tash, the character that was brought up all the time for being woke. I just didn't care, man. I don't care. There's a lot more game behind that, so giving it a bad score because of the few forced social issues that ended up in the game deserves a pretty high score. It's not GOTY material for sure, but it's a good video game. Anyway, watch the review if you want to know my unbiased opinion about it. The next game on the list is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, a game I had very high hopes for. This is the latest installment in the renowned flight simulation series developed by Asobo Studio and published by Xbox Game Studios, basically Microsoft. The game was released in November for Xbox, obviously, and Windows. This edition introduces significant enhancements and new features to deliver an unparalleled aviation experience. I don't know about that, bro. Career mode, expanded aircraft selection, enhanced environmental effects, and improved simulation technology are a few of the key features of the game. Yeah, true. This game rubbed some of the old fans the wrong way, but in the end, the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 will still get updates. So yeah, I don't know what's the problem, right? And most add-ons you got into the old game will work in the new one. I already have a few that are working already, including ones that were bought from the outside, so not from the in-game marketplace, you know. Anyway, the state of the game so far is not great. I'm a big fan of it, but I need to recognize this. The career mode, and that's the main reason I got the new game, by the way, is broken beyond belief. The mission objectives will misdirect you at times, hold short locations are finicky, and you'll get penalized at times for moving even if you're stopped. Passive income you should get later into the career for owning multiple aircraft companies is zero. Aircraft insurance doesn't pay out. Well, this sounds about right. Quick, release Giuliani. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. And this is where I get cancelled. But I digress. The turbulence effects are 10x on your little Cessna. You got the picture. There are a lot more bugs and annoyances with the title. I don't even feel like continuing with the planned review until Asobo fixes the campaign, the career, sorry. Because Free Flight, yeah, that works, but I got the game for the career mode. I have Free Flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Oh, and let's not forget the career works with only the default handful of vehicles, you know, so if you have 100 plus planes like I do, tough luck. Most of them are only usable in Free Flight. Sad stuff really, but what can you do? And whoever decided to stream the entire game to keep the initial package small should be whipped, to be honest, because we live in an era where people have 8 terabyte SSDs. So I see no issue if a game has 1.6 terabytes, you know. Give me the option to download all of it. All of it. Give me that option if I want. Why do I need to stream even the planes I own? Jesus. All this will come in later updates, I'm sure of it. If you want a seamless experience, this is not it. Yeah, the game, even when it works, the cringy AI voices and the stupid winds take away from the experience, for me at least. I mean, the winds are cool, but they don't need to be present in every mission, for Christ's sake. I'll do my review of the game early into 2025, so stick around for that. I'm sorry if I was too negative about this, because it's one of the games I truly love and I want it to be good so bad. And it pains me because it's not at the moment. Now, another one, Stalker 2, The Heart of Chernobyl, is a first-person survival horror game developed by GSC Game World, released in November. Set in a post-apocalyptic version of Chernobyl exclusion zone, the game follows Skif, who's a veteran of the Ukrainian Marine Corps. After an anomaly destroys his apartment outside the zone, Skif enters the zone seeking a mysterious artifact and becomes entangled in a complex conflict involving various factions of the game world. So complex that the story missions bug out in multiple places, preventing you to advance into the story. This was the reason that made me stop playing the game. All these issues might be fixed by this point, I wouldn't know though. So yeah, the game is very atmospheric and immersive. I'd go as far as saying if this game was released in a good state, as it should be released, I'd give it Game of the Year for sure. It ticks some of the boxes needed for that award, minus cinematics like the intro one after every story mission. And yeah, it has all those stupid bugs that mess up the progression or stops it in its tracks entirely, making you use console commands to try to force the next mission to start. I messed things up to a point where I couldn't progress even with those console commands. So imagine that one. Anyway, watch my review if you want to know more, because I want to keep this one rather short. But know this, Stalker 2 will become a classic at some point, mark my words, but for now it's riddled with all kinds of bugs. Now, the next game and the final game of the year on the list is Path of Exile 2. This was released in early access. This is the highly anticipated sequel to Grinding Gear Games' acclaimed action RPG Path of Exile. Announced in 2019 and scheduled for release in mid-2024, the game retains the series' core dark fantasy aesthetics while introducing significant upgrades in gameplay, visuals and systems. The original game will coexist with this new installment, this being catered to a more casual audience. But that's a bit weird though, because the game is a lot harder mechanically than the previous installment. Yeah, the skill gems, crafting and the passive tree are a bit streamlined, but the game is pretty hard. And don't forget, those things I mentioned are easier to deal with, only because there's no bloat like in the original game. After the game is fully released, in a year or two, this game will have the same amount of bloat like Path of Exile 1. Just keep that in mind. I enjoyed it a lot because I like a challenge, but I'm curious how it will end up when it's fully released. The moment you realize this is not that different from Path of Exile 1 is when you reach the endgame with a competent build. It's mostly the same mindless one-button mash, sadly, and to be frank, that's the only way you can progress in the game in a timely manner. I tried solo self-found with my first character, and at level 82 I threw in the towel. The second one I'm 92 and still going, but I'm actively trading, making currency, buying gear, upgrades, etc. I don't really like the odds of you getting upgrades. Most of the time you get shit that's usable by other classes, and only half of them are in the game in early access. remember that. Imagine how it will be when the game fully releases. The end game so far is a bit undercooked, but the campaign and class design feels great. I can't recommend it enough. Just watch my campaign boss guides if you get stuck and do some trading for a better weapon and you should be fine. And now the big moment of the video. I enjoyed each and every one of these games I talked about. Most of them, at least. And there are strong Game of the Year contenders in this list, for me at least. But before that, I want to remind you again that I have reviews up on most games on this list. Check them out if you fancy anything I talked about in this video. Also help me help you with unbiased reviews and first impressions videos by subscribing to this channel. Now back on topic. I wanted Stalker 2 to be the Game of the Year so badly, but it's not. Too many bugs for that. Then I wanted this new flight sim to be the one, but even I need to admit it's a niche game. Besides, it's riddled with a ton of issues as well. I need to go back, way back in 2024. The only few contenders for Game of the Year for me are Helldivers 2, Once Human, and Space Marine 2. And Skull and Bones. Yeah, I'm kidding, of course. Skull and Bones is on another list, Game of the Year, not this one. Okay, Space Marine 2. Space Marine 2 was very good but offered very limited fun, meaning the short campaign made me stop at, I don't know, 12 or 13 hour mark. I just want a bit more from a Game of the Year, to be honest. So, yeah, that one is out. Once Human, this game was awesome. I did a lot of content about it on this channel. This is how much I enjoyed it, and has a lot of content and has seasons. Sadly, because of YouTube, I couldn't stay with it for the following seasons, but I want to go back at the first meaningful update for sure. I didn't enjoy the co-op experience in this game though. It's just not for me. Other than that, it ticks most boxes, if not all of them. So the Game of the Year for me on Defensive Games channel must be Helldivers 2. This game has emerged as a strong contender for Game of the Year due to the several compelling factors that sets it apart in the competitive gaming landscape of 2024. Here's why it stands out. Co-op excellence and strategic gameplay. Seamless team coordination. The game builds on the co-op formula of its predecessor, elevating it with tactical depth, requiring players to collaborate in high-stakes missions against overwhelming alien forces. Strategic combat. From selecting loadouts to executing coordinated tactics, the emphasis of teamwork and precision adds layers of complexity, rewarding skilled and cohesive play. Intense and rewarding challenge. Dynamic mission design. Missions involve unpredictable objectives and brutal enemy encounters, providing a fresh and challenging experience every time. Friendly fire mechanics. The ever-present risk of harming allies adds tension, forcing players to communicate effectively and play carefully, a feature unique to Helldivers' identity. Expanded gameplay mechanics. The shift to a third-person perspective enhances immersion, in my opinion, in this case, offering better visual feedback in combat while retaining the chaos and intensity fans love. Expanded arsenal and tactics. A broad selection of weapons, gear and strategic options ensures players can adapt to diverse mission scenarios, catering to different playstyles. Social commentary and satirical edge. Dystopian humor. The game's satirical take on militarism, propaganda and conformity adds a layer of narrative depth, blending humor with thought-provoking themes. Engaging narrative. The satire resonates with modern audiences, making it both entertaining and relevant. Technical and visual excellence. Polished presentation. Helldivers 2 boasts stunning visuals, fluid animations and intricate environments, immersing players in its alien worlds. Community engagement and replayability. Endless replay value. Procedurally generated missions, diverse enemy factions and fair battle passes, and escalating difficulty levels keep the game fresh for players over time. Engaged community. Regular updates, developer transparency and active community support strengthen its longevity and player base. Helldivers 2 isn't just a great game, it excels in delivering an experience that is challenging, engaging and innovative. Its emphasis of comparison combined with sharp satirical storytelling and impeccable gameplay design creates a package that resonates with both hardcore and casual players. In a year crowded with high-profile releases, Helldivers 2 distinguishes itself as a complete, cohesive and deeply rewarding experience, making it a worthy contender for Game of the Year. So if you watched my reviews this year, you'd notice a trend. Most big games release in an unfinished state. Despite some issues at launch, this game, as long as I've played it, just worked. Feel free to start a conversation below about my takes, this list, your 2024 list, and so on. If we keep it civil, I can't wait to see what you think. I read all comments, by the way. Even if a video has 100, I read every single one. This is pretty much it, guys and girls. If you enjoyed this and want more and better content, hit those buttons, as I'll do some giveaways at 1k subs, 5k, 10k, 20k and so on. I'm thinking games, but later I might try and contact some of the peripheral companies to give away some more juicier stuff, you know. But for that I need an audience. Anyway, thank you for watching. I wish you a very happy new year and we'll see you in 2025. Oh wait, it's 2025 already. Anyway, take care of yourself and see ya.
You have maintained our way of life.
Priority alert. The RD system.